woke up to find hundreds of emails in my inbox. And these weren't the good emails, the everything's 70% off and it's not even Black Friday. These emails said things like, "Who do you think you are, you sly woman? When have you become so cheap? Your mother would be so ashamed of you if she was still alive. We know where you live and you won't live long. Watch your back." Then I discovered the blog post, the social media post about me. People were saying, "Beware of Mona Rose Moore. Protect your daughters, protect your sisters, protect your wives from this woman." Let me pause here a minute and share with you how I got there. I was born and raised in Singapore. I was born into a family who believed in following traditional religious edicts, believed it with all their souls. My mother was a well-known religious teacher. So it made sense that she would groom me to not only be a good religious woman, but to become Singapore's next top religious teacher. I was sent to one of the best religious schools, one of the best religious universities overseas. I learned, I memorized, I practiced, and eventually I became who I was supposed to become. I taught workshops and classes. I hosted my own events. I led prayers and rituals. I felt fulfilled at all levels. But then things changed. I want to bring you back to now, January 2007. I was in Cairo, Egypt. Hadn't seen my mom for about 8 months prior to that. Received a text message saying she's gone. Sudden death. Flew back to Singapore, went straight to this place that had been turned into a mini religious school founded by my mother. Family was there, relatives were there, hundreds of students were there. I remember positioning myself, sitting next to her body on the floor. I remember holding this cold hand and whispering, "Mother, I love you. I love you. I love you. I promise I will pick up your torch and continue the legacy you've built. I promise I will make you proud." And I did. With each successful workshop that I led, with each successful speaking event, I knew I had made my mama proud. Now it's 2011, 4 years after the death of my mother. And this desire to know God, to really know God, to know God beyond what's allowed and what's not allowed, to know God beyond what's right and what's wrong, to know God beyond, "Oh, she's a believer and he's an infidel," to know God beyond labels and discrimination. That desire to know God brought me to a place where I was forced to face, not just face, but question every single thing I thought I knew, every single thing I had been given and then began giving. Oh, it was hard. I remember crying and begging God for answers because I was so afraid. I was afraid because everything, my family life, my relationships, my income, my identity, my appearance, my clothing, all of that depended on that one specific belief system, on that one specific worldview. And because I sensed something was going to change, I felt scared. Duh! I kept praying. I said, "God, please show me, how do I overcome this fear?" I said, "God, if I die while suspending my beliefs, I know you know that I'm doing this to find you. This is my only desire." And then you know what I realized? I realized that I had been asking the wrong question. Because the question is not, how do I overcome fear? The question is, am I willing to be afraid? Am I willing to feel fear? And for me, the answer wasn't just a yes, it was I must. So I began to move, I began to follow the nudges of my soul. That sounds romantic, doesn't it? Following the nudges of my soul. But as anyone who's been through it knows, it's hard. I remember one of the first things that I felt I should do was cancel an event more than 500 people had already paid to attend. That's not all. I had to refund everyone, but because of the online system at that time, I had to meet every single person and physically hand them back their cash. I had to look them in the eyes and explain why I was canceling. I know. Thomas More, author of Care of the Soul, had said, sometimes deviation from the usual is a special revelation of truth. He's right, isn't he? Let me ask you a question. What do you think will happen to you when you can't express your thoughts, when you can't express your ideas, when you can't express your beliefs, when you have to keep who you are to yourself? It took me 5 years before I finally decided to come out. I couldn't take my own silence anymore. It creates this feeling of desolation, doesn't it? The silence. So I decided to come out. But coming out has its own set of risks and challenges. I was now facing a dilemma. Come out, speak up, show the new me, and face the consequences. Be rejected or ostracized or maybe even killed or all the above. Or not to come out. Stay safe, stay silent, and continue to feel trapped, lonely, and suffocated. So in 2016, I wrote a blog post. I shared everything in there. I shared I shared what I believed about God, about love, about life, about relationships, about spirituality, about religion. I poured my heart out. And in one outrageous moment of courage, I hit publish. I was expecting some criticism, of course, but the waves of negativity that followed, it just took my breath away. But you know what? Something else happened too. That blog post, my written expression of my truth, allowed other men and women to express their truth. I had people coming up to me and telling me that they're so grateful that someone like me, someone with my experience, would speak up about this so that we can now create a better world, an even more loving world, a world with more tolerance, a world with more kindness, with more compassion. I am here today to encourage you that if you are aching to speak your truth, begin by expressing yourself the way you know best. At this time, just right now. It doesn't have to be a blog post. Express it to yourself. Tell your journal about it. Talk about it with someone you trust. Or dance it out. Or paint it out. Just make space for it, one small tiny space at a time, because eventually what you may notice is that this small space begins to grow. And the more this space grows, the more you're able to express yourself. And the more you express yourself, the more you honor your voice, the more you honor your soul, what will be revealed is You! So let people have their judgments. Let them have their opinions about you. Feel the emotions. And then remember the words of Tokopa Turner. She's the author of the book Belonging. I love her book. She said, it is not for the critics that you raise your voice. It is for those who would otherwise be made voiceless. Wait. Wait, okay? Wait. Okay. All right. I'm ending now. So, remember the promise I made to my mother? The promise that I would carry her torch and continue her legacy? That promise has served its purpose. And now a new promise is made, but this time it's a promise to myself. A promise that I would dare to carry my own torch and let it blaze. Thank you.